Welcome back, everybody. I'm Sven Hosford at St. Clair today with Mental Health in the News as our weekly podcast with Medical Director Safdar Chaudhry here from St. Clair, and a new intern with us, Jill, no last name. Gross. Jill Gross is our new intern here, and she'll assist us in the questioning today of a real special guest, Israel C. Kalman. Izzy Kalman is a licensed clinical psychologist.
No, I'm a nationally certified school psychologist.
Thank you. Thank you for clarifying that. And you're also the author and founder of the Bullies to Buddies program,
Yes.
which is a school program for school psychologists to help teach. Go ahead. Describe the program for us, Izzy.
Okay. Well, it's for any mental health professionals to use with individual clients or for schools to use in dealing with children's problems.
Mm-hmm. But you developed this particularly because of your work as a school psychologist.
Right. You know, I've been working in schools since 1978, and the number one problem that kids have is, I'm being picked on, kids are insulting me, they're bothering me. So the solution is quite simple, and I used simple role-playing techniques to teach them why they're being bullied and how to make it stop. It's really quite simple.
Do you have some questions you want to ask about that?
Yeah, I was just curious. It takes a lot of effort to put together a living experience into a book. Many of us want to think about doing that. I mean, what prompted you to actually develop the program?
Now, one of the most routine problems I had been dealing with is hostility from other people. And Columbine brought bullying to the world's attention. We have to make bullying stop because these bullied kids are shooting up their schools. And when I saw what the world is planning to do can't possibly work. We're going to refuse to tolerate bullying, and then there won't be any bullying, and nobody's going to want to shoot up their schools. You can't make the whole world become nice. It's not human nature.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So describe how your program addresses the victim's behavior as opposed to trying to change the bully's behavior.
Okay. Let's say you come to me for help because you're being bullied. Can I tell you, I'm going to make everybody become nice to you? Is that really going to work? How long are you going to have to wait until I succeed in making everybody become nice? But the way people treat you ultimately depends on you. So I'm going to teach you how to get people to stop being mean to you, and they'll become nicer to you. It's in your power. It's not in other people's power.
Mm-hmm.
I can't make other people change for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's very true. I mean, I believe the same principle is applicable, when marriages are in challenges in our field, in our office here. I see that all the time, patients coming in hoping I could change the behavior of the person who's not in the room, and not possible. So I think you're very much on where the focus needs to be. And empowering the individual with the tools and the knowledge to have them become better in managing the hostilities of the life. I was curious, how long have the program been in place, and how has that been working out? This is my first time knowing, and I'm so very thrilled that the program exists, because we see lots of children and adolescents with very similar difficulties and struggling and avoiding school, refusing to go to school, and so I'm just curious, how long has that been in place, and what has been your experience of its implementation and its benefit for the clients?
Well, I've been using my specific approach. It evolved over the years, but I've been using it for close to 30 years in teaching individual kids how to stop being bullied. Also, in my work in schools, I would teach staff members how to stop doing the wrong thing when kids complain that they're being bullied. Because most staff members do the wrong thing, it makes the hostilities escalate.
Yeah.
Which is also why the popular programs, most of them aren't working. They're teaching the school staff to do the wrong thing. So the program really evolved. I can't say there was one date that it was created. I made I put a package together, I think in around 2007. I made a whole package called Victim Proof Your School. But the different parts of the program I've been using for decades.
Okay. Okay.
What are the specific things that schools do that are the wrong thing, Izzy?
Playing judge and punishing children for their interpersonal relationships. So this is what schools are required to do today by law. Let's say you called me bad names. Now I tell a teacher on you, the school now has to investigate you. They have to meet with you. They have to meet with your parents and inform them that you bullied me. They have to look for witnesses to find out what really happened. Now, once I start getting you investigated, are you going to say, oh, yes, I'm guilty, and I was bad, and I'm going to be nice to Sven or to, whoever? You're going to say, I didn't do that. What are you talking about? They started with me. So as soon as the school starts in doing the investigations and the interrogations, the hostilities escalate, and each one tries to blame the other one. And then if the parents get involved, usually each set of parents want the school on their own child's side. So now it turns into a feud between families, and the school has to play judge in the middle. Now, judges don't generally make both sides happy. At best, the judge makes one side happy. The two sides are still mad at each other, and one side hates the judge too.
Well, Dr. Chud, you've done a lot of work actually with judges. Does that sound familiar?
That's very true. I'm just kind of curious how, if someone, because bullies have their own set of issues, and that's why they assume that role. Is there something that you do for the people, for the kids to get into that kind of a state of mind and such behaviors?
Anybody who comes to me for help, I try to teach them how to solve their problems. Now first of all, even the term bullies, I hate using it. It's not a diagnosis. It's an insult. It's an insulting word that we use for anybody who treats us in a way that we don't like. And the researchers, the whole field of bullying tries to demonize bullies, whoever they are. They make us think that they're these evil psychopaths who are picking on innocent children. So they get everybody up in arms to go into war against bullies. But practically speaking, a bully is anybody who treats you in a way that you don't like. If somebody criticizes you, if they roll your eyes when you say something stupid at a meeting, they have bullied you. So everybody is a bully based on the definition that's being used today. And also this idea that bullies have their own issues and that's why they bully other people. It's not necessarily true. There are people who just have discovered that they can have power by annoying other people, and they get upset, and it's a lot of fun. And the so-called bully who's doing it isn't necessarily unhealthy. Everybody wants power, and they have discovered, boy, it's fun on picking on so-and-so. They get all upset how much fun this is. They're not necessarily pathological in any way.
Sure. Yeah, I agree. It is just one way is to make their presence known in the world that is out there. So in other words, as you, I think I understand in the context of your one-to-one conversation with, no matter how we identify and label, and helping them through their lifing. But when you're working with the schools, and if there is a situation where there's an identified person who is aggressive or whatever, how do you manage the school systems to assist them? Because they want you to obviously also help the aggressor or somebody who we don't like the way they're behaving. Because it must have been hard to work with staff against the momentum that they have, and you are trying to teach them a different way of thinking about it.
No, you're right. Schools have been taught one way of thinking about bullying for the last 15 years. So if I come there, a lot of the staff members will have a hard time accepting what I teach. But when I come into a school, it's very important that the principal or the administrators like my approach. Otherwise, I don't come into the school. They know that they have to sign off in advance that they know that my approach is not the popular one.
Mm-hmm.
So usually when I come, they already like it. And then I have to get the lower level staff members to understand what I teach.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
There seems to be that key thing about not reporting the bullies, not turning them in, not being the snitch. That seemed to be the thing that caused the controversy in the press. Was it that, or which parts of your program caused the most controversy when they were taken out of context?
Right. Well, I mean, the don't tell on bullies rule is the one that got the most amount of people upset. And I can understand it because they've been taught you have to tell on bullies. But usually when you have a situation where there's a lot of bullying going on and it's going on for a long time, the kids have been telling on their bullies. They get picked on, they tell the school staff reprimands the so-called bully, and it never ends. So if that's going on, if the kid has been telling, I teach them stop telling. You're making them hate you. Pete, let me ask you a very simple question. When will you like and respect me more? If I tell the school authorities that you're upsetting me, or if I tell you directly that you're upsetting me?
Yeah, obviously if you tell directly.
Yeah, people always like and respect you more if you deal with them directly. Once you go to the authorities, they want to defend themselves and blame you, and they hate you for telling on them.
No.
So telling should be avoided like the plague. There are times when it is appropriate to tell. First of all, it's always okay to tell. If what you're telling the authorities is, other kids are making me miserable, please teach me how to handle them. I want to be educated, teach me. That's always okay, assuming that the school staff knows how to teach me. If they don't know how to teach me, it's going to be useless. It's always necessary to tell if there's a truly dangerous situation. If somebody's going to do something that really will injure you or destroy your valuables, or they're going to set the school on fire, of course you have to tell.
So there is a line that if somebody crosses, it is appropriate to report that.
Of course. There are behaviors that are negative, but they're the ordinary parts of life. Insults, rumor, social exclusion, everybody has to deal with this. There are behaviors that are called crimes. Crimes are things that cause objective harm to people's bodies or property. For that, people should be apprehended and punished. Nobody's allowed to take your computer and destroy it. They're not allowed to punch your nose. That's assault and battery. We'd have a much easier time knowing what to do if we would get rid of the word bullying and replace it with a real behavior that's going on. He assaulted me, they harassed me sexually, they broke my computer. Tell them what the behavior is, but the word bullying is so broad it doesn't mean anything.
Mm-hmm.
And everything from eye rolling to the Holocaust is being called bullying.
Yeah, well, that's a bit of a range there.
Yeah. So if you talk about the specific behavior, it'll be easier to know how to deal with it.
We'll do the
yeah.
We actually have we have people watching. We have somebody gave us a question via chat on the Google+. This is from David Whitman. I wasn't bullied in high school because I was homeschooled, and college is now amazing. I was bullied and I didn't shoot up my school. What do you have to say about that? Did I read that right? Okay. So he said he was homeschooled, and did you get the gist of that, Izzy?
Yeah, but I'm not really sure what the question is.
I'm not exactly sure. The question is, what do you have to say about that? But I was bullied and didn't shoot up my school.
But I thought he said he wasn't bullied.
He wasn't bullied in high school because he was homeschooled.
Yeah.
And now college is amazing. And apparently there is some bullying in college, but he didn't shoot up the school. So
he didn't shoot up his college.
He did not shoot up his college.
But I'm glad.
Well,
that would be very inappropriate.
Do you find that bullying in high school is much different than bullying in college?
Well, the older kids get, or the older people get, the the more subtle, if they are hostile, they do it in more subtle ways.
Hmm.
So in elementary school, intermediate school, it'll be more, things like really nasty insults or pushing people in the hallway. In high school, as the years go by, it happens less, and in college, it happens even, less than that. By the time kids are in college, they behave much more civilized than the way they do in intermediate school and elementary school.
But now we have this phenomenon called social media.
Yeah.
And apparently people can be even less subtle
Yeah.
and more bullying. So describe what happened in the press when they got a hold of your suggestions never to tell on a bully, and what kind of things was the press saying about you?
They called my rules. By the way, my rules aren't meant to be presented the way they were by the school in Lincoln, Nebraska. But listen, I can't fault them for doing it. The counselor of the school had been using my techniques for a long time with success. So the counselor put my rules into a flyer that they sent home to the parents. The counselor isn't somebody I work with. They just attended my seminar years ago and have been using my work successfully. But once they put the rules and sent it home to the parents, some parents got mad at it and brought it to the media, and then it was an avalanche. It just went from one media outlet to another, and people love bashing my rules.
Mm-hmm. And how have you responded? How have you used your own principles of responding to the bullying?
Well, first of all, I didn't go to and try to get anybody in trouble for doing it to me.
You didn't tell on anybody?
I didn't tell anybody. I tried contacting them. A few of them I tried contacting directly. I emailed them saying, I'm the person who wrote these rules. Please contact me. I'll be happy to talk to you about them. But I don't hear from them. Okay. They're not interested in really going to the depth of the story. They need new stories, so they love bashing somebody. The next day, they need another story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I also sent out a press release about this, so a few people from the media got in touch with me, but no, really major news media.
Okay. Well, that's why we're in touch with you. I found the story fascinating, and I was really curious to see how your response to the media bullying was now working out. I think you had said, go ahead.
But it's dying down. The story is old news. You're not going to find new stories about the same thing anymore. Now, in the beginning, I was quite upset because I was afraid this might hurt my career. But it turns out it's not hurting my career. In fact, if there is somebody up there watching after me, they seem to be helping my career since then.
Well, we have somebody who has just been in college, still in college now. Any comments or questions you have about the whole subject of bullying and how it's manifesting in schools these days?
Well, this isn't college related, but I was wondering if you think that there's a difference in the way that girls bully each other and the way that boys bully each other, and if so, do they need the same tools or is it modified?
Great question.
It's well known that girls torment each other more on a relational level. They try to get, other girls against, a certain girl. With boys, it's more overt, like really serious name calling or hitting sometimes. So boys tend to be more physical than girls. But the principles that I teach are essentially the same. If you want people to stop being mean to you, you have to treat them like friends. If you're treating me badly and I treat you like an enemy, is that going to make you treat me better? If I treat you like an enemy, I have to treat you like a friend. And before long, you'll be treating me like a friend. So whatever the kind of bullying that you're complaining about, I will teach you how to handle it. Now, I can show you a very simple solution to one of the most common kinds of bullying, and this happens more with girls than with boys. And it's rumors. There are kids who have did terrible things to themselves because of the rumors spread about them. So I want one of you to give me a rumor about me. I heard this about you. The first time I'm going to do what people typically do. So somebody give me a rumor about me.
I've heard you are stupid. I've heard you're stupid.
Actually,
But make it something like more specific. Make it.
This is a real case actually where involving more of a, having indiscriminate sex. You're a whore.
I'm not a whore. I don't have an indiscriminate sex. Who told you that?
You did.
It's not true. I don't have indiscriminate sex. Stop laughing at me. It's not true. Okay. Do you notice you're laughing?
Yeah.
And you're adults and you're nice, intelligent people, and you're laughing when I'm getting upset.
Absolutely.
But I was just treating you like an enemy. I was angry at you. I'm saying you're wrong. It's not true. Now we're going to do it again, and this time I'm going to use what I call a magic response. I call it magic because it works wonderfully and it's simple. Say it again.
Say it again.
Why don't you do that?
I heard that you're a whore and you're having indiscriminate sex.
Do you believe it?
I'm not sure. Maybe.
And if you want to believe it, how can I stop you?
I don't know. I guess you can't.
I can't stop you from believing it.
Okay.
You just take the wind out of yourself.
Yeah.
Now, what's going on here, you want to see me defending myself from the rumor. It's not true, you better not believe it. But when I defend myself, two things happen. One is I'm treating you like an enemy, because we defend ourselves by definition from enemies. But secondly, I lose by defending myself because it's the weaker position. So if I defend myself, you're going to keep on attacking me. So the second time, I made you defend yourself by asking you, do you believe it? Now you have to decide if you want to acknowledge believing a nasty rumor about me. You can't stop people from believing what they want to believe. So if you say you believe, I'll tell you, you can believe if you want, I can't stop you. And it shuts you up. And if you say you don't believe it, I win even bigger.
Yeah. So did you find your book, I have not read that, but I was just going to ask you, if we give it to parents and or families to read, it has information that assists them with the process of understanding and implementing them in their real life?
Oh, absolutely. I wrote a book for kids. It's good for ages 9 or 10 and up, and also for adults. It's called Bullies to Buddies, How to Turn Your Enemies into Friends.
Okay.
And people get wonderful results by reading this book.
Okay.
It's written very simply, clearly. Now, what I teach is often counterintuitive. A lot of it is not the common teachings about bullying. One of the things I teach is stop thinking of people as bullies. The moment you think of people as bullies, you see them as the bad guy, and you're against them.
Yeah.
So how are you going to treat somebody like a friend if you think in such mean terms about them?
Yeah.
So think of everybody as a friend. Even if they criticize you, there must be a good reason. If they're hitting you, they must be mad at you. Now, think of them as friends, and you're more likely to turn them into friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
Any other questions?
Well, that's very good. I really appreciate your time and wisdom, which only comes not by reading books, but also being in the experience of life. And I believe that, how you're addressing this thing maybe is against the mainstream thinking process, but that's where we need to go to reduce creating more enemies, not only within the perspective of schools, but in the world that we live in. And I was going to actually ask a question that came and left my mind. Do you feel some of those behaviors are human, normal, developmental behaviors, which we are now making it more pathological and giving it different names?
Right. Now, the whole field of bullying came about to deal with the behaviors that are considered normal behaviors. Now, there are laws against assault and battery, against vandalism, against rape. The bullying field strictly has come to add things that are quite normal. Name calling, criticisms, insults, social exclusion, kids hitting or pushing each other. If you have children, you notice that the younger they are, the more physical they are.
Mhm.
But now all physical aggression is being called bullying, and it's treated like it's pathological, and all we have to do is not tolerate it, and it's going to disappear.
Hmm. Okay. So it's almost like an impossible task then to really kind of take away the normative behaviors. Once we make them pathological, it's a battle that we cannot win then.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you for explaining and offering and doing what you do in the field with all the other norms which are established to develop a new way of thinking, or at least reclaiming the balance of where we have to draw the lines of pathology versus normative behaviors. Thank you for doing that.
You're very welcome, and thank you for having me on the show.
Thank you, Izzy. On behalf of Jill Gross and Dr. Safdar Chaudhry, I'm Sven Hosford, inviting you to continue the conversation with us on Facebook by liking us on Facebook, plus us on Google+. Follow us on Twitter under Say Claire Life, and keep an eye on any of these for the next podcast on Monday of Mental Health in the News. You can also find this and other programs at our YouTube channel, Say Claire Video, and find audio versions of our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, Spreaker, and iHeartRadio. Please visit www.sayclaire.com for more about this and other articles on health and well-being. Thanks very much for joining us today.